Hi, everyone. Every week on Food Talk with Danny Nierenberg, I'm going to share some updates and news that make me excited, energized, infuriated, or curious. The first is following President Trump's tariffs imposed on Chinese goods in February, Beijing retaliated by halting all purchases of American soybeans. The New York Times reports that this is having devastating impacts for farmers, especially in North Dakota. Producers there previously exported over 70% of their soybeans to China before the tariffs were implemented. One 2,300 acre farm says that they'll lose $400,000 in 2025. The farmer, Jordan Gackle, says that if we keep this going for very long, then we are going to see the kind of foreclosures that were happening during the 1980s farm crisis. During that time, thousands of farms just disappeared. There were a lot of farmer suicides. It was a very dark time in American history. And while farmers are getting less for their crop, the costs of doing business are going up. Josh Gackle, who is the chair of the American Soybean Association, says that the input costs for fertilizer, chemicals, cost of land, cost of equipment, all of those things are increasing. Meanwhile, the price of the commodity is decreasing. In August, Trump called on China's leader, Xi Jinping, to increase purchases of American soybeans. And while farmers' hopes were raised then, no action by China has been taken, and the soybean harvest is just weeks away. Just Sherlock, who is a farmer and the president of the North Dakota Soybean Growers Association, says that we're running out of time. And if we don't get a deal in the next few weeks, I think this turns what was hopefully a 1 year problem into a multi-year problem. I also saw this week that the Trump Vance administration has proposed to end a program requiring polluters to report on greenhouse gas emissions. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency proposed ending a program that requires refineries, power plants, oil wells, and landfills to report on their emissions without risking penalties. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin said that the greenhouse gas reporting program is nothing more than bureaucratic red tape that does nothing to improve air quality. He states that the program drives up costs for American businesses, and after review, the EPA has determined that they're not required by law to force industrial polluters to report their emissions under the Clean Air Act. But the program has had real significant impact over the last several years. Since its start in 2009, U.S. industry has reported a 20% drop in carbon emissions. David Doniger, who is a senior strategist at the Natural Resources Defense Council, says that the EPA's proposal gives polluters the secrecy they want in violation of the law. The EPA will accept input on the proposal through a public comment period and on its website. We know the harms of pollution, and a new report is proving that it's not just bad for the planet, it's also bad for business. An analysis from the group Series reveals that the top five drivers of nature loss could cost eight sectors up to 430 billion per year globally. The food sector could face the steepest annual price tag of 253 billion as a result of changing weather patterns, the loss of pollinators, and pollution. Meryl Richards, the program director for food and forests at Ceres, says the financial risks from inaction are staggering. The report includes a few examples to highlight the costs that businesses are already seeing right now. Drought conditions in major coffee producing regions such as Brazil and Vietnam are leading to lower yields, causing coffee prices to surge. Earlier this year, the price of Arabica beans reached an all-time high. 14% of Walmart's global facilities are exposed to both hurricanes and 16% are exposed to floods. These weather events have cost the company tens of millions of dollars in damages to storefronts, operations, and supply chains. And Darden Restaurants, which owns chains like the Olive Garden, saw a $4 to $5 million increase in operating costs when wholesale lettuce prices spiked due to poor growing conditions and weather-related events. For my final story, I want to talk about how artificial intelligence is being used to support farmers in Malawi. Thousands of small-scale farmers in the country are relying on a generative AI chatbot for farming advice, according to a report from the Associated Press. This tool is WhatsApp-based and was designed by the nonprofit Opportunity International and backed by the country's government. Users can type or speak their question, and it replies with an audio or text response. So I love that, like both audio and text. So that's really helpful for people who can't read. The International Fund for Agricultural Development reports that AI has the potential to uplift agriculture in sub-Saharan Africa. That's important, and especially in a country like Malawi, where up to 80% of the population rely on agriculture for their livelihoods. One farmer who has used the tool received a suggestion to grow potatoes alongside his usual corn and cassava. This turned a significant profit and helped him pay for his children's school fees. So that's life-changing. To build trust in the recommendations and make them, especially relevant to local farmers and their conditions, the tool is programmed to align with the Agricultural Ministry's official farming advice. Webster Jassy, the Agricultural Extension Methodologies Officer at the Ministry of Agriculture, admits that it is still a challenge to get the tool in the hands of enough communities to make a difference because it requires access to a smartphone and the internet. So we need to expand that for farmers, not just in Malawi, but all over the world, especially in the United States. Jassy says that the farmers who do have access to the app can help fellow farmers by passing knowledge from the tool. That farmer to farmer sharing, we know, is so important, and that will help scale its impact. So thank you all for listening and watching. We really appreciate your support. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. If you have any questions, please email me at danielle@foodtank.com. Thanks, everyone.